Well, 2 and a bit years in, are the lies of Joe Biden finally starting to catch up with him? With the American economy cratering, energy prices at record highs, watch out Australia, we're next, and no one believing that any of this is really simply the fault of Vladimir Putin or Donald Trump or racism or climate change or whatever the current thing is this week, maybe monkeypox, people are starting to look at the man who is, sorry, let me try this with a straight face, the man who is in charge of the Oval Office. That is to say, Joe Biden and indeed the entire intellectually bankrupt so-called elite leadership class that are propping him up. Here's an example of this. Now, the other day, Joe Biden wrote or signed off on or was told about after his nap an opinion piece appearing under his name in the Wall Street Journal. And in it, he wrote these words, quote, "A dozen CEOs of America's largest utility companies told me earlier this year that my plan would reduce the average family's annual utility bills by $500 and accelerate our transition from energy produced by autocrats." Well, not so fast. Even the Washington Post, which until very recently has been the modern-day corporate Pravda of the Biden administration, found this to be too much. Their fact checker, the reliably left-biased Glenn Kessler, awarded Biden's claims 4 Pinocchios, pointing out that there was no reference to the savings in the transcript of the meeting with the utility executives, nor in the readout either, and that, in fact, most of the cost reductions he's referring to come from the reduced cost of driving and are expected to kick in around 2030 when Biden will be out of office and will probably not be allowed to drive anymore anyway. In the meantime, though, high energy prices are actually a feature, not a bug for Joe Biden and the Democrats. Have a look at this.
When it comes to the gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place that, God willing, when it's over, will be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over. This is going to be a haul. This is going to take some time.
Yeah, it'll be a haul, all right. But anyway, if he's not lying about big things, Joe Biden is lying about small things. And again, the lies are starting to catch up with him. Have a listen to Joe Biden addressing the US Naval Academy graduation recently, where he made a pretty big claim.
I was appointed to the Academy in 1965.
Really, Mr. President, you were appointed to the prestigious US Naval Academy at Annapolis in 1965. Well, great, except there's no record that anyone could find of this thus far. Joe Biden's 2008 autobiography called Promises to Keep, there's a title right out of Orwell, does not mention the Naval Academy. Others have pointed out that the U.S. military was heavily involved in the Vietnam War by the mid-1960s, and had Joe Biden attended the Academy, he would have had to serve in the Navy upon graduation. Great, except that Biden received 5 student draft deferments during his 4 years at the University of Delaware and subsequent 3 years at the Syracuse University College of Law. Now, this created some awkward moments for new White House flack Karine Jean-Pierre, who had to claim that she didn't hear Joe Biden's statement, despite it being at the very top of the president's speech. Have a look.
During his address at the Naval Academy. The president was born in 1942, graduated from the University of Delaware in 1965. In his address, he said he was appointed to the Naval Academy in 1965. Was he? Was it in 1965?
So I did not hear that part of the speech, so I would have to. Okay, I did. I missed.
A lot of writing about it.
No, I hear you. Ed. I hear you. I have not. I need to read it myself and just go back and see what you're talking about exactly. I can't speak to it right now.
Yeah, she can't speak to it right now. I don't know. It's all too hard for her. Anyway, I don't know what is scarier, when Biden and his lackeys are lying or when they are not.
Question really is, it sounds like you're questioning the April date that the president just gave us.
No, I am not questioning the president at all. I'm just saying I have not spoken to the president. I know he just mentioned that date.
But you're saying White House officials were involved in and engaged on this issue prior to the president being briefed on it himself.
I was in my office. I did not actually hear what the president said.
James, it's sort of almost emblematic of the president's broader administration and his own carriage of issues.
And absolutely it is, Peter. But the bigger problem, too, is that now the new press secretary, is running against the fact that Biden has reportedly said he is sick of White House officials cleaning up after his messes. So now she's in this damned if she does, damned if she doesn't position where she's got the press pack attacking her on the one side. She wants to clean up the ridiculous pile of garbage that, comes out of Joe Biden's mouth every day, including about the baby formula crisis, but about so much more. And she can't, because then if she does that, then it's creating more division within the White House that she's just joined. It's a terrible situation. Nobody's in control there of the communications operations at the White House. And I don't think really anybody, except for some Obama retreads, are doing anything about policy either.
James, who do we blame for Peter Fitzsimon's racistly not liking American football? 30 seconds, go.
We blame Peter Fitzsimons for not liking American football, because if you read the column in which Peter Fitzsimons talks about how much Peter Fitzsimons does not like American football, he talks about American football being boring and mediocre and yet overly hyped. And you have to wonder, well, maybe Peter Fitzsimons doesn't like the competition.
This story from North Carolina, where a preschool, James, uses these flashcards. So these things you kind of hold up like this. There we go.
Yep.
And they feature a pregnant man as a way of teaching little children about LGB blah, 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 James.
Well, I mean, if they've got the iPhone, they've already got the pregnant man emoji with that. But yeah, again, this is, the revolution does not sleep. It does not quit. And they will find every single avenue to undermine anything that smacks of a traditional way of looking at the world. A traditional thing that's like,
culture wars, stop fighting the culture
men can't
wars,
get pregnant.
James.
Sophie, haven't you heard the great news about your future? You will own nothing, and you will be happy. Tell us, you went to Davos for the World Economic Forum. Tell us about what you learned there, and tell us about the kind of world that they think that 19-year-old Sophie Corcoran should grow up and live in and enjoy. And you already talked about bugs, but I assume that there's some pods and other things involved with this.
If I had to sum up the World Economic Forum in 3 words, it would most likely be 1, fake, 2, undemocratic, and 3, a whole load of hypocrisy. The whole thing was just hypocrisy. They give us all these lectures about climate change and tell me how I can never drive a car while flying in by a private jet and helicopter. They want to increase digital surveillance and digital ID, and yet there they are, hidden behind their own little tiny secure zone. So they want to know and see every single aspect of our lives and monitor what we're doing while they themselves get privacy, because, only the rich deserve privacy. And again, they want an open borders policy. That's what they're pushing. Again, they're hidden behind their little secure zones. They want gun control so people can't defend themselves. Yet in there, all of the armed police had, loads of guns. I mean, this whole entire thing with the World Economic Forum is so grotesquely undemocratic. It's unbelievable. I mean, these are unelected people who are unaccountable to the public, sitting behind their little secure zones within accredited media. And the fun fact about those media is that the people that were the accredited media, so the only ones that were actually allowed to be in there and ask the questions, were also sponsoring the events and also had guests that were invited as part of the conference, not for the media team. So how on earth can we trust these people to be honest and to be transparent and to ask the questions that we need?